The room was filled with whispers, but Nicole didn't hear them. She didn't hear the soft gasps or the cold stares as she walked up the aisle. She didn't even notice the hundreds of eyes watching her every move. The only thing she could focus on was the cold weight of the ring she was about to place on her husband's finger. Jae-min, once a powerful heir to a multi-billion-dollar empire, now sat in a wheelchair. His body broken from the accident that had shattered his life. Yet here he was, still the man she was forced to marry. Nicole's heart raced as she stood beside him, feeling like a stranger in a world that wasn't hers. This was not the life she had imagined. Jae-min had been a legend, tall, strong, and full of life. But now, he was a shadow of his former self, and she was the unwilling bride in a marriage designed by his father to save the family's empire. The wedding ceremony was mechanical, cold, nothing like the romantic weddings Nicole had dreamed of. Jae-min didn't look at her. His gaze was fixed on the floor, as if he couldn't bear to look at the woman he was marrying out of obligation, not love. But Nicole could feel something in the air between them. There was a pull, a magnetic force that neither of them could deny. As she placed the ring on his finger, something shifted. Was this just a duty? Or was there more to their connection than they both realized? As the ceremony came to an end, Nicole helped Jae-min into the car, her hands trembling as she adjusted his wheelchair. Suddenly, her phone buzzed. It was a call from an unknown number. She answered, but before she could speak, a cryptic voice whispered, "This marriage is just the beginning, Nicole. You've been chosen for a reason." The words sent a chill down her spine. The morning after the wedding, Nicole found herself staring at the grand mansion that had become her new home. It was beautiful, coldly beautiful, like a prison of luxury. As she moved through the halls, she felt like a ghost in a house that wasn't hers, where everything was foreign, even her own reflection in the polished floors. Jae-min remained quiet as he sat in his wheelchair by the window, gazing out at the sprawling estate. His once vibrant eyes were dull. His shoulders slumped under the weight of the accident, the company, and the expectations that hung over him. Nicole didn't know what to say to him, nor did she know what her role in all of this was. The promise to her family, the contract forced upon her, felt like chains around her heart. His father, Mr. Kim, wasted no time in making his intentions clear. He arrived at the house with a cold, commanding presence that made the air feel heavy. "Nicole, you are now the lady of this house. Your responsibility is to help Jae-min regain his strength, both physically and mentally. Without that, this family will crumble, and with it, the company." His words were a blunt reminder of why she was here. It wasn't for love, it was for duty. Nicole nodded silently, feeling trapped. Jae-min's father's voice echoed in her mind as she helped him into the kitchen later that day. "You must help him." But the more she saw him, the more she understood. The man sitting before her wasn't just an heir to a fortune. He was a man who had lost everything. The man who once walked with confidence now struggled to find his footing. Could she really help him? And more importantly, did she even want to? Just as Nicole was about to leave the kitchen, her phone buzzed again. It was the same mysterious voice from before. "This is only the beginning. You're deeper into this than you realize. The real test is coming, Nicole." Her heart raced. What did this all mean? What was coming next? Nicole's days began to blur together. She spent her mornings trying to learn her role, being a wife to a man who didn't want her, supporting a man who had lost his will to fight. Jae-min had become a shadow of himself, locked inside his mind, locked in his wheelchair. His silence was deafening. Every word that left his lips seemed drenched in bitterness, every glance filled with shame. But beneath the surface, Nicole could see the flicker of someone who wasn't ready to give up. One afternoon, after spending hours trying to coax Jae-min to move his legs during physical therapy, frustration bubbled to the surface. "Why are you even trying, Nicole?" he snapped. "You didn't sign up for this. I'm not the man you thought you were marrying." Nicole froze, hurt flashing across her face. She had no answer. Why was she still here? She wasn't the woman who had dreamed of fairy tales. This wasn't some romance movie. It was reality, and reality was far messier. But there was a part of her that refused to give up. She could see it in his eyes, the fear of failure, the guilt of what had happened to him. Jae-min was a man who had lost everything, including his hope. But for some reason, she couldn't bring herself to walk away. That night, as Nicole lay in bed, she heard faint sounds from the hallway. She opened the door to find Jae-min staring at the family portrait on the wall. It was a picture of him, strong and confident, standing next to his father, a powerful symbol of the future. "I'll never be him again," he whispered under his breath, the words raw with pain. Nicole's heart ached, but she couldn't find the words to comfort him. How could she? She didn't even know how to comfort herself. They were both lost, trapped in a world that had turned upside down. The next morning, as Nicole was preparing breakfast, she received an urgent message from Mr. Kim. It read, "Get ready. The company is under attack. We need you to help Jae-min take control. Time is running out." Her hands trembled as she stared at the screen. What had she gotten herself into? Nicole's heart raced as she read Mr. Kim's message again. "We need you to help Jae-min take control. Time is running out." The words echoed in her mind, carrying with them a weight that felt too heavy to bear. What did this mean? Jae-min was already struggling to regain his independence, and now, on top of everything, they had to face an external threat to the company. She found Jae-min in his study, looking out the window, his face hard and unreadable. The tension in the air was thick, and for the first time, she felt a glimmer of the man he once was, the powerful heir to a vast empire. But that man seemed so distant, so unreachable. "We have to act now," Nicole said softly, stepping closer to him. "Your father's message said the company is under attack. We need to do something." Jae-min turned his head, his eyes cold. "The company?" He scoffed bitterly. "I can barely take care of myself. What makes you think I can take control of a multi-billion-dollar empire?" His voice cracked with the weight of his despair. Nicole took a deep breath. "You don't have to do it alone. I'm here, Jae-min. We can do this together. You don't have to carry this burden by yourself." For a moment, Jae-min stared at her, uncertainty in his gaze. His face softened ever so slightly, a flicker of hope, a glimpse of the man he used to be. But then the moment passed. He turned back toward the window, his voice low. "I'm not the man I was. I'm nothing but a burden." Nicole's heart ached for him. But she couldn't give up on him, not now. She stepped forward and placed her hand gently on his shoulder. "We'll find a way, Jae-min, together." Just as Nicole thought she had reached him, a knock at the door interrupted their moment. It was Mr. Kim's assistant, her face pale and frantic. "The situation is worse than we thought. We need to move quickly. There's someone inside the company trying to destroy us." Nicole's pulse quickened. Who could be behind this? And what did they want? Nicole's mind raced as the assistant's words sank in. Someone inside the company is trying to destroy us. She couldn't believe what she was hearing. How could there be a traitor among them? Who could possibly want to bring down the very empire that Jae-min was supposed to inherit? The assistant, Soo-jin, looked over her shoulder nervously, her eyes darting back and forth like she was afraid someone might be watching. "There's a mole," she whispered, barely able to keep her voice steady. "We don't know who yet, but they've been leaking sensitive information. The company is in jeopardy." Nicole turned to Jae-min, who had been silent since Soo-jin entered. His face was a mask of fury and confusion. "How can I fix this?" he asked, his voice laced with frustration. "I can't even walk properly, let alone run a company." Nicole's heart broke for him. She had seen his strength before, but right now he seemed lost, broken in a way she hadn't expected. But she also knew this was the moment. She couldn't let him drown in his own despair. "You don't have to do it alone," she said, her voice firm with resolve. "We'll figure out who's behind this together. We'll take back control." Soo-jin hesitated, then spoke up again. "The company board is meeting later today. If we don't act fast, we risk losing everything. We need Jae-min to step up, show them he's still in charge, that he can lead." But Jae-min just shook his head. "I don't know if I can do this, Nicole. I'm not the man I used to be. I don't have the strength, physically or mentally. Nicole stepped forward, taking his hand in hers. She knew he wasn't ready to hear it, but she couldn't hold back any longer. You have more strength in you than you think. I believe in you, Jaemin. You can do this with or without the chair. We'll face this together. You'll lead, and I'll be by your side. As Nicole finished speaking, her phone buzzed. The message was from an unknown number, but this time there was no cryptic warning. Just one line. You can't stop what's coming. The clock is ticking. Nicole's blood ran cold. What was this person threatening now? And who could it possibly be? Nicole's pulse quickened as she read the cryptic message on her phone. You can't stop what's coming. The clock is ticking. The words seemed to hang in the air, taunting her, sending waves of dread through her body. Who was behind this? And how did they know so much? She glanced over at Jaemin, who was sitting motionless, staring at the papers in front of him. His father's empire, his inheritance. Everything was at stake, but he couldn't see it. He couldn't see the future because he was stuck in his own struggle, paralyzed by his own fears. We need to act, Jaemin, Nicole said, her voice soft but insistent. Your father's assistant said the board meeting is today. If we don't show them you're capable, we'll lose everything. The company, your father's legacy. It's all at risk. Jaemin's eyes flickered with something. Uncertainty, perhaps, or a flicker of anger. But it quickly faded. I can't do this, Nicole. I'm not the man I used to be. I can barely keep up with therapy, let alone deal with company politics. I'm useless. Nicole's heart ached for him. She had been trying so hard to break through, to make him see his own worth. But every time she thought she was getting through to him, doubt pulled him back into the darkness. You're not useless, she said firmly. You're more than what this accident has made you. And you're more than the man who's trapped in that wheelchair. Your family needs you, Jaemin. This is your chance to prove to them, to yourself, that you're still the heir to this empire. You are the one who will save it. For a moment there was silence between them. And then, slowly, Jaemin looked up. His gaze meeting hers for the first time in a long while. There was something there. Something that hadn't been there before. Was it hope? Was it a glimpse of the man he had been? Suddenly, the door to the study swung open, and Sujin rushed in, her face pale with panic. It's happening, she gasped. The leak, we've identified the mole. It's someone inside the company. Nicole's heart skipped a beat. Who could it be? And why now, when they were already on the edge of losing everything? Nicole froze at Sujin's words. A mole inside the company. The thought sent chills down her spine. She glanced at Jaemin, who was gripping the armrest of his wheelchair so tightly his knuckles had turned white. His jaw clenched, his face darkened, and for the first time in weeks, Nicole saw a spark of the man he used to be, the one who had fought for his place in the world. But it wasn't hope she saw. It was fury. Who is it? Jaemin asked, his voice cold and sharp. Sujin hesitated, her eyes flickering nervously between them. We're not completely sure, but all signs point to someone close to the board. Someone you trust. The words hung in the air like poison. Nicole's stomach twisted. Trust was already fragile in this family, and now betrayal was lurking right under their noses. She watched Jaemin carefully, waiting for his response, but he said nothing. Instead, he wheeled himself toward the window, his back to both of them. Nicole stepped forward. We can't let this break us. Whoever it is, we'll find them. But Jaemin, you need to show them that you're not weak. If you don't fight back now, they'll destroy everything your father built. He turned his head slightly, his eyes narrowing. And if the traitor is one of my own blood? He asked bitterly. The question cut through Nicole like a blade. She hadn't thought about that possibility, but the fear in his voice told her he already had. Before Nicole could respond, the door burst open. Mr. Kim stormed in, his face red with rage. It's begun, he shouted. The board is voting today to remove Jaemin as heir. If we don't stop this, the company will fall into the wrong hands. Nicole's breath caught in her throat. A coup inside the family. Could they really fight back in time? The mansion's atmosphere was suffocating, as though the walls themselves knew the secrets they were forced to keep. Nicole felt her chest tighten with every word that left Mr. Kim's mouth. The board is voting today to remove Jae-min as heir. It was more than betrayal, it was war, and it was happening within the very family that was supposed to protect him. Nicole turned sharply to Jae-min, expecting him to panic, but what she saw startled her. His hands were trembling on the wheels of his chair. His jaw clenched so tightly she thought he might shatter his teeth. "So this is what they've been waiting for," he muttered, his voice low, trembling not with fear but rage. "We have to go to the boardroom now," Mr. Kim urged. His usually composed face was pale with desperation. "If you don't show up, they'll take everything. They'll destroy you, your legacy, and the company." Nicole stepped forward. "Then we go," she said firmly, her voice louder than she intended. Her heart was racing, but she couldn't let it show. If Jae-min broke now, if he surrendered, it would all be over. She gripped his shoulder tightly, her eyes locked on his. "They want to see weakness. Don't give it to them." Jae-min looked at her for a long moment, and then nodded. There was fire in his eyes. Pain, yes, but also defiance. For the first time since the accident, Nicole believed he might fight. The ride to the company's headquarters was tense. Nicole could feel the weight of invisible eyes on them, like someone was always watching, waiting for them to fail. When they entered the boardroom, a hush fell. Faces turned toward them, some surprised, others smug. Nicole's stomach dropped when she saw the smirk of Jaemin's cousin, Han-jun, at the head of the table. Han-jun rose slowly, his smile sharp and venomous. "Welcome, cousin," he said mockingly. "You've finally joined us. But you're too late. The board has already started voting. Today, the empire will belong to me." Nicole's blood ran cold. The traitor wasn't just inside the company. It was family. The boardroom was tense, every eye fixed on Jae-min as he wheeled himself to the long mahogany table. Nicole walked beside him, her chin raised, refusing to let fear show on her face. But inside, her heart hammered. She could feel the venom in Han-jun's smirk, could hear the whispers that echoed like daggers across the room. "Cousin," Han-jun said smoothly, his tone dripping with arrogance. "This company needs strength, not pity. The board agrees, it's time for new leadership. It's time for me." Gasps rippled through the room, but Nicole held her ground. She leaned down, whispering into Jaemin's ear. "This is your moment. Don't let him bury you alive. Show them who you are." Jaemin's hands trembled as he gripped the edge of the table. For a terrifying moment, Nicole thought he might give in, might surrender the empire his father had built. But then his voice, hoarse, uncertain at first, broke the silence. "I may be in this chair," he began, "but don't mistake that for weakness. This company is my blood, my father's legacy, and I will not watch it fall into the hands of a traitor." The board erupted in murmurs, some shocked, others skeptical. Han-jun laughed coldly, his eyes glinting with malice. "Strong words, cousin. But words mean nothing without power." He pulled out a file and slammed it onto the table. "Proof," he declared. "Evidence that Jae-min can't manage this company. Documents of his failed rehab. His inability to attend board duties. His instability. He's not fit to lead." Nicole's breath caught. Where had Han-jun gotten those? The documents were real, but twisted, weaponized against Jae-min. She glanced at her husband, whose face had gone pale, his resolve shaken. Just as the board prepared to vote, Nicole's phone buzzed beneath the table. She glanced at the screen. A new message from the unknown number. "The traitor isn't who you think. Protect Jae-min. Trust no one." Her blood ran cold. If it wasn't just Han-jun, then who else was pulling the strings? Nicole's palms grew clammy as the boardroom seemed to shrink around her. Han-jun's file lay like a weapon on the polished table, each page a dagger aimed at Jae-min. The board members flipped through the documents, nodding, whispering, their faces turning grim. Every tick of the clock echoed like a hammer, counting down to Jae-min's fall. But Nicole couldn't stop staring at the message glowing on her phone. The traitor isn't who you think. Protect Jaemin. Trust no one. Her stomach twisted. If Hanjun wasn't working alone, then who else in this room was pulling the strings? She scanned the faces, stern, unreadable, some hostile, some indifferent. The truth was hidden among them, and time was running out. Jaemin, though shaken, gripped the edge of the table with both hands. His voice, though low, cut through the murmurs. "I will not step down," he declared. "No file, no twisted lies will erase what I've built with my father. I may be broken, but I am not defeated." Hanjun sneered. "Broken is the perfect word. Look at you. You can't even stand, and yet you talk of leading. The company doesn't need a cripple. Needs strength. And strength is me." The words hung like poison, and Nicole saw Jaemin flinch. His pride pierced deeper than any wound. Rage surged in her chest. She slammed her hand on the table, startling everyone. Strength isn't measured by legs that walk, but by the will to stand against betrayal. And I will not let you humiliate him. The room fell silent. Nicole could feel the tension crackling like lightning, the balance of power shifting with every heartbeat. But before she could speak further, Sujin slipped into the room, her face pale, her voice trembling. "Stop the vote," she cried. "We've uncovered the truth. The mole. It isn't just Hanjun. It's someone higher, someone we never suspected." Nicole's blood froze. If Hanjun wasn't the true mastermind, then who in this family or this board was powerful enough to pull the strings? The boardroom erupted into chaos as Sujin's words sliced through the air. Nicole clutched the table for balance, her mind racing. If Hanjun wasn't acting alone, then who? Every face around the table blurred into suspicion. The whispers, the shifting eyes. It was a storm of betrayal swirling in plain sight. Hanjun slammed his fist against the table. His smirk faltering. "Lies. She's trying to protect him. There's no one else. I am the only one strong enough to take control." His voice cracked, betraying the certainty he had paraded moments ago. But Sujin didn't flinch. She held up a flash drive, her hand trembling. "I have proof. Emails, transactions, hidden deals. None of them lead to Hanjun alone. The real traitor has been feeding him information, pulling strings from the shadows." Nicole's breath caught. She turned to Mr. Kim, expecting reassurance, expecting him to crush the accusations. Instead, his face had gone pale. His eyes wide with something she had never seen in him before, fear. "Father!" Jaemin's voice cracked as he wheeled forward, confusion clouding his face. "What's going on? Who's really behind this?" Nicole's gaze darted between father and son. The tension was unbearable, every second stretching into eternity. Mr. Kim finally spoke, his voice low, almost broken. "It was never supposed to be like this." The room fell silent. Nicole felt her blood freeze. Could it be? Could the man who had forced her into this marriage, the man who had demanded Jaemin fight for his legacy, be the very one tearing it all apart? Just as the weight of realization hit Nicole, Sujin slammed the flash drive onto the table and whispered, "The evidence points directly to him." "Mr. Kim." Gasps filled the room. Jaemin's world shattered in an instant. His father's betrayal cutting deeper than his accident ever had. Nicole's heart pounded. If the mastermind was truly Mr. Kim, then the fight for the empire wasn't just about survival anymore. It was about family, loyalty, and truth itself. The boardroom was suffocating in silence. Nicole could feel her heartbeat in her ears as Sujin's words echoed again. "The evidence points directly to him. Mr. Kim." Every eye turned to the patriarch, the man who had ruled over them with power and fear. Mr. Kim's face was unreadable, his cold gaze sweeping across the room, daring anyone to challenge him. "You think I would destroy my own empire?" he finally said, his voice low and sharp. "You think I'd hand it over to vultures like you?" He glared at Hanjun, then at the board members, his authority unshaken despite the accusation. "Everything I've done was to protect this company. If sacrifices had to be made, then so be it. Jaemin's voice cracked as he pushed his chair forward. Sacrifices. You betrayed me. You betrayed the very son you forced to carry this burden. You made me believe I wasn't strong enough, when all along you were pulling the strings. His voice rose, trembling with anger and heartbreak. Nicole's hand gripped Jaemin's shoulder firmly. This is your moment, she whispered. Don't let him take any more from you. Stand, Jaemin. Show them you are not broken. The room held its breath. Jaemin's hands trembled as he pushed against the arms of his chair. Pain etched across his face, sweat dripping down his brow, but he refused to stop. Slowly, agonizingly, he rose to his feet. Gasps filled the air. Nicole's eyes brimmed with tears, watching as he stood tall for the first time since the accident. His voice ringing out like steel. This company will not fall into the hands of liars and traitors. Not Hanjun. Not even you, father. It is mine. I will carry it no matter the cost. The board erupted, stunned by his defiance. Mr. Kim's face hardened, but the fire in Jaemin's eyes was undeniable. In that moment the heir had returned, not just in name but in spirit. Hanjun stormed out, defeated. Mr. Kim said nothing, his silence speaking louder than words. Nicole slipped her hand into Jaemin's, their fingers entwining as he steadied himself. The battle was far from over, but together they had won the first war. Did Nicole do the right thing by pushing Jaemin to rise against his father? Leave your thoughts in the comments and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more emotional stories.